so this is literally, that's my windowsill, okay, and I'm just turning you up so you can see what's outside of my window, and it is roseberry willow herb or willow herb seed heads, which I hope you can see, just waving around in the breeze out there. Oh, they are so beautiful. Aren't they just lovely? So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and draw some of those, if they'll stay still for me long enough, and then I'm going to get a box of fabrics out, and right on cue there's the chickens joining in, and just see where that takes me. I'm going to have a little go at that. Okay, so I've nipped outside and I've just cut a couple of these pieces off here, which is probably going to mean I've got lots of insects creeping around the place now. And isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, what a very simple set of lines there are going on there. But when you look at it, it's got all this beautiful fluffy stuff coming off it as well, which is what blows around in the wind out there. It's such an attractive plant, and I love it because it grows wild outside my window. I'm just so lucky. So I'm kind of looking at two sections. What I've done is I've got myself a little frame that I've had from something else, and when you start to put a frame around something, instead of it being a totally overwhelming thing, it sort of narrows it down, and then it's a bit more manageable. So you could do it that way or that way. And I'm just really looking at the pattern that it's making. I'm not trying to make it look necessarily like a willow herb seed head, you know. I like that bit, and I really quite like the way you get this edge. You get this bit where it's pinging out at the ends. You get this kind of frondy sort of opening up at the ends here. So I might try and do a bit of that as well. So I've just drawn around the inside of this little. It's a very badly cut out square. I don't think it's even got any straight sides. I've used it as a quick thing for something else. So I've just done this quick little thing here, and I'm just going to literally shall I draw it with this, or shall I just go? I'm just going to let my pencil tell me what to do. Actually, I'm just going to just look at it. I'm not really worried about how it ends up, because as I say, I'm not trying to make it look like a willow herb. I'm just sort of responding to what's going on with the plant, and you know, that might just about do really. So it's kind of, I've taken different bits of it and I seem to have created it in a this is a very linear sort of thing, but there's a lot going on it, and you know, possibly you look at that and go, well, what on earth is that all about? Where's that going to take you? And I've no idea, but I really enjoyed just making some quick marks, and that's created a pattern for myself. I was also looking, the other thing I quite liked, actually, I might do more than one thing here. When I was looking out of the window, there was all these lovely kind of crinkly leaves going on, these kind of weird kind of curly-whirly leaf shapes, which again could sort of become something else. It becomes a little bit of, they're all kind of folding back on themselves, and just making an interesting pattern. And again, what I'm doing is I'm not letting it just become just linear, and I'm going over the edges a little bit because I think it's quite nice to take the pattern outside. So they no longer look like leaves, but I've kind of responded to what I'm seeing and let my pencil do the wandering, and I've created two very different looking things there. So I'm going to do a couple more and just draw those in, just bear with, as they say. And don't get me wrong, I do enjoy actually spending a lot of time doing drawings as well. I do really enjoy doing sort of more botanically inspired drawings where I actually really look at the detail of things. But this is just really, I'm trying to work quickly so that my head isn't telling me what to do and telling me that it's wrong, because so often, don't you find, we have this little voice in our head that says, oh no, that's not right. That's not right at all. That's not how it looks. But you see, looking is very personal, isn't it? You know, what I'm seeing, you might be thinking, oh goodness me, I can't see that. What's she drawing that for like that? I can't see that. But it's very personal, and as I said, I'm trying to make it fairly quick and not get too bogged down in what it's doing. And then we've got these ones that just come across like this, like that, and maybe like that. There you go. So it's almost like I'm starting with this, and then it's taking me on a journey, a very quick journey. It's taking me somewhere else entirely, and then when I take this into some fabric and get a box of fabric out, we'll see what happens next. Okay, so that's given me 2 little pages. I've just kept it really simple. A couple of pages with some drawings in. I think what I'm going to concentrate on are these sort of spiky looking shapes. I really like those. They're really nice clean lines. So I've cut myself, or rather I haven't cut myself calico, I've torn myself a couple of pieces of calico because I find that really works best. If you just tear it, you get these really nice rough edges. And the thing is that you don't throw anything if you live with me. You don't throw anything away except obviously the things you need to get rid of. These are the threads from the edges of the calico, and I sort of save them up in a jar with other bits and pieces of, there's lace and all sorts in there, and I think, well, that would be really nice to add onto a surface sometime. And in the meantime I just enjoy them in the jar. I mean, they're so pretty. So nothing needs to be wasted. Let's put that back over there. So right, what's next? Well, I got a box of fabrics. Just see if I can show you this. We're a bit close up here, but basically I picked out just fabrics at random. I'm kind of feeling a little bit autumnal with these colours. I've kept it very simple. There's like about three actual things in here. That's a spare bit because that comes with the lacy. I picked out this frothy stuff. I picked out this weird kind of, I don't know what you call it even. It's got a really nice texture to it, and it's quite soft. Not soft exactly, but it's kind of got a translucence to it anyway. Quite delicate, I suppose that's the word I'm looking for. And I like this. This is a very odd fabric. It has a printed pattern on it, which is not what I want, but I do like this sort of lacy stuff here. And then I picked out a couple of yarns, literally just, this is some linen thread, which is very nice and simple, and this is just some wool. And I've absolutely no idea yet what I'm going to do with them. So let's get cutting and tearing and see what happens. Okay, so I have cut myself some little thin sort of strips of, I've chosen the grey lace and the little painted lace piece, and I'm just going to lay these down on here. I'm working quickly, I'm not thinking about it, because the minute you start thinking about it, you start going, oh well, oh, it should look like this or it should look like that. I might even leave some gaps and let the calico show through. I quite like that. I'm trying to get, I don't know, sort of a sense of movement and things just being quite random, really. I don't think I want things to be too fixed. So I might put a bit of that on top of there, or you could be having this on top of that. You see, you could be layering things up and getting a bit of extra going on. The other thing I've done is I think I might put that there, or maybe not, maybe I'll turn that over like that. The other thing I've got going into the mix is some of this fabric which I showed you. I did actually iron it. I ironed it flat and it's really lovely. It's got a lovely shimmer to it, but I actually think that's too kind of flat now. So I'm going to just take a little bit of this sort of crinkly bit here. I'm going to try and cut a bit of that off. But the other thing I realised was it has got some really lovely sort of strandy bits which could be chucked on top of there. So let's cut a bit of this off. I'm just going to move that out of the way because I think it's going to get caught. And the other thing I want to cut up is a little bit of this. This is, I've talked about this before. This is those shrugs that you buy. They're really pretty little knitted shrugs, and they often find them in charity shops. And I take them home and I cut them up, and they are brilliant. Especially they create a really nice effect if you've got an embellishing machine, obviously. But if you haven't got an embellishing machine, they're still really nice things to use. And I just thought they're adding a bit of sort of frothiness to it. I feel as though there's different things going on here. I feel as though there's this sharp lines here. Just bring that down a bit, sorry. We've got these really nice sort of sharp, clean lines going on. But then I'm also aware, the feeling I have is of the sort of seed heady bits, which are here, which are just these, they're kind of speckledy and lacy and frothy, and I don't quite know how I'm going to interpret them at all. I'm not, as I say, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just playing with the fabrics. It's almost like the rose hips, not rose hips, what are they called? Willow herbs, sorry. It's because they're called rose bay. The rose hip bay willow herbs are a start point, basically. And this is the idea, is it's to get you going. So we're working quick, we're not faffing about. I was going to cut a bit of this off, wasn't I? Just pop that on top of there so I can cut this without it getting mingled with everything. So I'm just going to cut some of this at random because I don't want it to be anything to be too precise. I don't necessarily want it to be in lines even, just cutting little snippety bits. I'm just having fun. You know, get your fabrics out and have some fun. Don't be set in stone. Don't think, oh, well, it looks like this, so it has to go like that. I think I like the beigey colour best. I'm just going to have a little bit of this. Look at that. It's got such lovely crinkles in. And I probably won't need very much of it. But I'm just attacking it with my scissors, basically. Fortunately, the ladies in the charity shop don't know that I do this. This is what, it's my secret. I sort of bring these things home and just chop them up with great recklessness, and that's really good fun because I'm, ooh, look at all those little bits as well. I like that. so many things going on here that you can have fun with. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of add these in. I don't know how they're going to stitch down, but it's all about creating a little surface here. This would, as I say, would be really easy to do with an embellishing machine, but I'm not using that today because I'm just keeping it back to basics, back to simplicity. I haven't always had an embellishing machine. I have mainly used my sewing machine down the years. See, this shruggy stuff is lovely because you can pull it apart like this. Okay, and you can just add that in. And I don't know why I'm doing it. As I say, it's just, I'm playing. And I find once you start, it takes you on a journey. You just have to get started and don't have any plans. It's just like life, really, isn't it? What's the point of having plans, really, on the whole? Because you know what, life's going to come along and say, no, I don't think you're doing that today. I don't think that's a good idea. I think this is going to happen today instead, and it's going to knock you off beam, and you're going to have to pick yourself up and recover from it, whatever it is. Or you're just going to have a really different kind of a day to what you thought. So look, that's quite nice. I didn't know I was going to create that. It's not finished. I've got to stitch it down. If I show you with a little framey thing, you see, you can start to see what it's doing. It's creating just this lovely background. So I think the thing to do is I need to sort of, maybe I will put a cloth on top of that and press it down a little bit because I think it'll be easier to stitch. I think I'll just iron that down a bit, knock it back a bit, and then I will add some stitching to it, and then we'll do the next bit. It's just a little process. Right, I'm going to need to kind of pin these in place. This again, ladies and gentlemen, if I say the E word again, the embellisher word, the beauty of an embellisher is it will hold all of this lot in place for you while you do your stitching. But I'm quite willing to give this a good go, and I don't mind if things move around. Just going to pin this, as many bits as I can pinned in place. I mean, obviously you could do it that you would put a strip down and stitch it and put another strip down and stitch it, but I think this is more fun. This is more fun. I have no control over how it's going to turn out. I don't even know how my machine is going to enjoy doing this. I've no idea how I'm going to keep all these bits in place, but I don't care. I'm exploring, I'm finding out. I'm doing something new, something I've never done before. I've never done this before in this way with these fabrics. Actually, I don't like that on there. I might put that underneath. Let's choose a different arrangement. There we go. I like the way we've got layers going on here and the surface is getting more complex. But who knows what it'll look like after I have stitched it. And this is the game. This is the game. You're building up like a selection and a collection of things to look at and to lead you to other things. Right, stitching time.